pasa?
¿Quiénes fuimos a la montaña?
Thank you all so much for being here. Juan Antonio, I'll start with you. This is, for you, a return to themes of survival that I loved in your film, The Impossible. And from what I understand, you encountered the book on which this film is based while making that movie. Can you talk a little bit about encountering that story?
Researching for The Impossible when The Society of the Snow was published in Spain. And I was shocked because I thought I knew the story, but it's a very different book from Alive. It was written 35 years after the plane crash, so you can tell that you have the weight, the gravitas of all the time that had passed. All the unanswered questions that the survivors still have 50 years after the plane crash. And I really was impressed about the spiritual approach to the story, almost like a philosophical approach. And that made the story much bigger than what I thought it was. I gave the book to all the head of departments. I was reading pages to Naomi Watts and Tom Holland during the shoot because it gave me a good approach to the inner life of the characters during that situation. And I was so shocked, so impressed, so moved that I remember that the last day of the shoot of The Impossible, that was 2010, I think, we bought the rights to do this film.
Can you talk about the scope of the shoot? Because I know this was an extensive shoot. You shot in many locations as authentically as you could.
I told all the head of departments, I wanted the actors to go through the same journey they went through, chronologically, in the same conditions. So I told Félix Bergés not to use green screen because I didn't want the actors to not to be distracted by that. I prepared the actors for months for this film, and I told him that we were going to shoot the film as if it was a documentary. So we gave the actors the space to try things on set, to explore, to commit mistakes. You know, it's good to go to an actor and say, this is not a play. I prefer you to take risk and commit mistakes than not try things, you know. So it was all about preparing the film to allow the actors to go through the journey, the same journey, going through the same emotions, the fear, the hungry because they went through a strict diet, the cold because we shot in real locations, in order to allow the audience to live the journey with them.
Speaking of performances, Enzo, it's a beautiful performance, first of all, yes. I'm curious what you knew about this story coming into the project, and I know you also got a chance to speak with some survivors, and how that perhaps informed the way you came into the film.
En Uruguay, yo soy de Uruguay, la historia la conoces desde muy chiquito, enseguida conoces esta historia. Y lo lindo fue que la conocí y después, cuando tenía 12 años, uno de los supervivientes vino al lugar donde yo estudiaba a contarnos su historia.
I'm from Uruguay, and this is a very well-known story ever since you were a child in Uruguay. So when I was 12 years old, a survivor came to tell his story to my school, and nobody was paying attention until he started speaking, and then it was complete silence, hearing him talk. And that's what made me realize that that was a real story that had happened to real people. So once I found out about this project, I was just amazed, and I wanted to be part of it. And so when you get the chance to actually meet the survivors, you see a lot more of the story, and you also feel the responsibility while you're filming, because you realize that they're going to see it, that other people will see it, and you do feel that.
Can you talk about the conditions of the shoot? I think for everyone watching, we really see a transformation in the actors that feels very authentic to what the survivors went through.
The truth takes you elsewhere as an actor. Because with acting, sometimes you start constructing a character, it's an artificial process, and then you find a character. But this was a real story, and we lived through real conditions, so we felt cold up to the point that we wouldn't even feel our feet. We felt hunger. And every day of the shoot, we felt that, and it was a 4-month shoot. And those conditions first are a distraction, but at the end, you get used to them, and then you become part of the conditions, and then that frees you in your performance. And also, the other connection is with the fellow actors, with my castmates. We became friends. We became almost like a family because we rehearsed together for a long time, and we became very close. And then it becomes like you're acting with friends, and you have somebody to talk to and share that hunger and those conditions. So all these conditions being so real, it just helps.
Michael, I thought of the music because what I love about it is that there's this balance between the stakes, right, and the music conveying the stakes of the film with the subtlety of letting the story come through. Can you talk about striking that balance through your work?
In order for me to write truthful music for something, I want to always put myself in the place of the characters that I'm working for. On every film, and I'm always very vocal about that. I want to feel what they're feeling. I want to go through, understand what they're going through. That's fine if you're scoring Star Trek or Spider-Man or something like that. This was an entirely different thing that I was not prepared for. And every day I did same process that I always do, but it affected me in such a different way this time. And I really, even from my vantage point, from me sitting there at the piano, I wanted to make sure every single note that I wrote was honest, was truthful, did not step on what the actors were doing, the story they were portraying. Getting to meet the survivors afterwards and getting to talk and spend time with them, you know, that was something I wasn't prepared for. After meeting them, I realized, oh, they're carrying this joy within them, you know, and they're take it and they spread it everywhere they can. And it was a freeing and just a lovely thing to understand and to realize in the end. So it was this a strange healing experience throughout the entire process for myself. Again, not expecting it to be this sort of a thing, but that's a testament to this gentleman down here. He approaches everything with his heart, and that's what's wonderful about it.
Pedro, I'm curious about how you found shooting in the elements, and you have some of these shots where you just have this enormous sense of scale and really what these people were up against. How did you go about conveying that through your work?
We were very much in service of the actors, right? But the other big actor was the elements. It was these big mountains that were trapping us, right? And it was this big wall that it didn't allow you to think beyond, right? It was super oppressive. And then it had all the difficult things of shooting in the snow. You know, it was really difficult to get out to our location. It was really difficult to get all the stuff we needed. But at the same time, we needed to be ready and we needed to be expressive with the camera. We wanted to say something with what we were showing, right? Beyond, you know, the words or beyond, you know, the actions themselves. It needed to, you know, elevate in a way this thing. And it happened naturally, just because we were there and we made the effort of doing it.
Oriol, in terms of the snowscape that this film is working with, what was it like to work with snow in terms of the sound? Because it really does inform a lot of the way we understand the peril that these characters are in.
You know, when he went the first time at the Valley of the Tears, he right away, when he came back and he had signal, we called me and he said, listen, I'm just so overwhelmed about the silence of the mountain, no? And then we did like interviews with people who has spent time in the alpine areas and how they connect with the inner self in this silence. No, so this was a clue to find like this kind of like spiritual way for the film. So we use silence not like just like a formal way. We in an organic way we see the silence will be like this way of putting the characters connecting with their own emotions and giving like the film this deepness. No? And Bayona and I thought that this way it was a really good way to approach the movie in some ways. And in the middle of the stillness, we have this alien element, that the skeleton of the plane, that is the shelter of them. So I use that fuselage as a way that there's almost another character in the movie, so it kind of reacts of the emotion of the character. So the fuselage will make like different kinds of sound, emphasizing the energy of each scene.
Speaking of the plane, Felix, we open this film essentially on a very realistic depiction of this plane crash. So from your end and the visual effects end, like what did that work look like in creating that?
For several movies, beginning with Impossible, he wants always to be with the actors. He wants always to be really very realistic and very direct, something that is true. In that way, we try to first to create a couple of gimbals and this type of stuff in order that the actors feel all the forces, all the dynamic, no, of this element. And the other shots that are full CE and are the normal way of we create one model of the entire valley. We made thousands of photographs in the Valley of the Tears, and we, in fact, the accident was a minimum part of the effects of the movie. We have done more than 1,000 shots, and the accident are more or less 80 shots of visual effects.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.